Alana POV. Ďane Lee Branson. The sweetest, cutest guy in our pack, and he's my brother's best friend. He had the prettiest dark brown eyes and a smile that could make any girl melt. I wanted Ďane to be my mate more than anything in the world. I wanted him so bad, I would have sold my soul. Unfortunately, everything changed after my brother found his mate Snow. I liked her at first, but it wasn't long before she talked my brother into taking control of the free territory so her parents would be safe from the rogue werewolves. That's when my life went to shit. Before Snow came into the picture, I had an almost perfect life. My parents were the king and queen of werecats. I had lots of friends, and I had Ďane showing me the occasional affection. That was until he turned 18. I think he knew then that we weren't mates, and that was his way of keeping me at an arm's length. But it didn't stop me from hoping and dreaming that I would turn 18 and find myself mated to him. Unfortunately, I still had a few months before that could happen. During that time, my dreams turned to nightmares that carried over into my life all around. In one day, I lost Ďane and my best friend Emily to a set of bitchy werewolf twins. Emily and Tegan immediately hit it off. I tried to be happy for Emily, but I needed my best friend more than ever at that point in time. However, she was too busy with her mate to be a good friend to me. As for Ďane, I held onto a little hope when his mate disrespected him in front of everybody. Besides the pain I could see in his eyes, I was happy to see her acting like such a fool, because it increased my chance of getting him to take me as his chosen mate. My hopes were soon shattered when we were informed that the twins and their family were in danger. Ďane wouldn't hardly leave Tamara's side, so I never got the chance to pull him to the side and ask him to consider rejecting her for me. During that time, the little slut started mating with Ďane, despite the fact that they hadn't marked each other. She managed to wrap Ďane around her finger in no time, and that just about killed me. Seeing Ďane look at her the way I wanted him to look at me ignited a smoldering fire in my heart. All I could do was sit around and cry. For days, the tears poured out of my eyes as I tried to move on, but I just couldn't. After Tamara saved Ďane's life, using a special ability, they were inseparable, and it wasn't long before they marked each other. Of course, that left me even more devastated to the point that I considered running away and never looking back. The only problem was that my mom kept me so sheltered from the world. I had no clue what to do, or where to go if I did leave. That being said, my thoughts soon drifted to ways that I could win Ďane's affections. I tried flashing him smiles and wearing sexy clothes, but I could never get his attention, no matter how hard I tried. Finally, Ďane came to see my dad at his personal office, and Tamara wasn't with him. I waited until Ďane was on his way out, then I put the moves on him. Unfortunately for me, Ďane immediately shot me down, with a look of pure disgust swirling in his dark brown eyes that I adored way too much. I felt like my heart instantly turned to ice and shattered into a million tiny pieces. I had gone out on a limb just to be rejected and left feeling completely humiliated. To top that off, I heard so much crap from Emily, Tegan, Snow, and Lance, it was downright irritating. Once again, I tried to move on and forget about Ďane. I hardly left my room for the next few days, then I purposely tried to avoid Ďane, Emily, and their mates. However, that was easier said than done. Too often, I spotted Ďane and Tamara showing love to each other, and it made me sick to my stomach every time. I couldn't stand to see the two of them kissing or touching. I quickly grew to hate Tamara for taking the love of my life away from me. I grew to hate Snow for being the reason for the twins coming to her territory in the first place and for taking my brother away from me. I grew to hate Tegan for stealing my best friend. Most of all, I grew to hate my brother for defending Tamara and for abandoning me to spend more time with Snow. After a while, I started plotting to get revenge on Tamara specifically. It wasn't long before I learned that Tamara was pregnant, and the rogues were targeting her offspring because they feared what a triple hybrid might be capable of. I couldn't blame the rogues for being concerned. Hell, I was a little concerned about that too. I made it a point to keep to myself for the most part, while I tried to think of a good way to get rid of Tamara. However, a good idea didn't come to mind until the day that the protection spell was cast on our territory. Emily and I had an argument in the nearby jungle, and it led to her punching me in the face. After that, my brother thought it was okay for him to put his 2 cents in, and that just ticked me off more. While my mom was cleaning the blood off my face, she mentioned something about life getting back to normal after the rogues were dealt with. I knew that my life would never be the same unless Tamara was out of the picture, and the rogues were my only option to make that happen. I snuck out of the castle. Then I stealthily maneuvered through the jungle to what used to be the free territory. When I reached the other side of it, I sat in a tree and watched for some rogues to appear. After an hour or so, I finally spotted a small group of them. Right away, I climbed down the tree, then I quietly made my way across the border. Once I got close enough for them to hear me, I confidently yelled, "Hey, our territory is protected by a spell, but I can help you get the cubs after they're born." The largest rogue in the group immediately shifted into his human form, and I couldn't help but to gaze at him in awe. He was surprisingly handsome for a rogue, with short blonde hair and dark green eyes that would sometimes flicker to a burnt orange color. There was no stopping my heart rate from increasing when he flashed a pleased smile my way and smoothly asked, "Why would a pretty thing like you want to help a group of mutts like us? When the cub's mom comes to save them, I want you to kill her. She has been nothing but a thorn in my side, and she needs to go," I stated with no remorse whatsoever. "Tell you what, if you bring me the cubs, I will personally take her out for you, but I also want a night with you in my bed," he huskily responded with a wink. I thought about his proposition for almost a minute, then I shrugged my shoulders and mumbled, "You've got a deal." I had recently turned 18, and if things didn't work out the way I wanted, I could join this group of rogues and have some fun with this excessively hot man. If I couldn't have Danon that way, I could at least enjoy receiving affection from someone that attractive. King Silas POV. Pain. A searing pain erupted throughout my entire body, rendering me absolutely useless. The pain was so bad, Cyrus took control of my body. Then he sat in the middle of my office floor roaring in anguish. Within seconds, my beta, my gamma, and my bodyguard all ran into my office with concerned looks plastered on their faces. However, I couldn't do anything but roar and growl from the agonizing pain. I knew exactly what was causing my pain, and so did Cyrus. Something terrible had happened to my mate, causing our mate bond to snap. As soon as the pain started to ease up, I took control back of my body and shifted into my human form. Then I angrily demanded, "Find your queen now. She has lost her life. I want her body found and brought back to me. I want answers. I want to know what happened to her right now." Beta Jace and Gamma Seth sprinted out of my office, while my bodyguard stayed by my side and attempted to console me. Naturally, there was no easing the heartache I was experiencing at that moment. My queen was dead, and life would never be the same without her. Meredith was the most important person in my life. We had only recently found each other, but we were madly in love. She brought light to my otherwise dim world, and she gave me a reason to be a better man. Now she was gone, and I didn't know why. What I did know was that I was gonna miss her beautiful teal eyes and her gorgeous smile that would make the cutest dimples form on her pretty face. The way that she would snuggle with me in bed and whisper, "I love you," would haunt me in my dreams for years to come. It was several hours before Meredith's body was found and brought home. As soon as I laid eyes on her mangled, bloody body, I was instantly enraged. The claw marks all over her body were clearly caused by large cats, and I knew right away what killed my mate. Werecats. At first, I had no clue if it was werecats from a nearby pack, or if it was rogue werecats, but I had no doubt in my mind that she was killed by one of those creatures. I needed more answers, but more than that, I needed to avenge my queen's death. I planned to do so by eliminating any werecat that crossed my path. I didn't care if it was a good werecat. As far as I was concerned, there were no good werecats. None of them could be trusted, and it was time for their extinction. With that thought in mind, I made it clear to all werebears that they were to show no mercy to any werecats. I wanted them all taken out by whatever means necessary. It was the least I could do to avenge Meredith's unwarranted slaying. For several years, I ruled over my species, and I never let up on my revenge against those disgusting creatures. If a werecat found its way onto my mountain, 𝘽𝙖 would be brought back to the castle, where I would torture them in front of the members of the Evergreen Pack. I always made it entertaining for everybody, and I had fun finding new ways to make them scream and hiss. Some called me savage because of the way I would torture them, but I didn't care. Those ruthless creatures deserved everything I did to them after the way they brutally killed my queen. I managed to live through the heartache of losing my mate, but I wasn't the same person that I had become with Meredith in my life. There was no longer a twinkle in my eye, and rarely did a smile appear on my face, unless I was in the middle of torturing one of those worthless werecats. The only other thing that would bring a rare smile to my face was when one of the unmated females in the pack joined me in my bedroom. I never enjoyed their company as much as I enjoyed Meredith's company, but it was nice to get a much-needed release from time to time.